geographic session was this one. That was Nalanda. So it's a kind of great debate that what is Nalanda, and there is a lot of hue and cry debate. And, generally, it is known as that it was one of the earliest and greatest university of the world. Word university itself is a very debatable kind of things. And when you talk about the university is simply four important functions. One is that the institution that is for higher learning, one thing. Number two, that institution for higher learning must be for innovative program, new thing, for research orientation. And third, that research orientation must be used for community development. So, one is for the higher learning, second is for the research orientation, third is for its community engagements. So, on basis of it, there was a great archaeologist, his name was H.T. Sankaria, who did his MA dissertation on Nalanda. He told that this was the first known organized university of the world. And then controversy started. And on basis of Xuanchang, Chinese traveler records, many historians put it that it was established in the 4th century Common Era. So when I started working that, I first started thinking that was it this spontaneous development started in the 4th century Common Era? Personally, I am not just believe this. I have sent a paper on that. I have just published it, that origin of Nalanda Mahavihara. So you read it. So I found it that you have to look into its evolution. And its evolution has two broader nomenclature. The first stage, you can say it Nalanda Vihara. And the second stage, you can call it Nalanda Mahavihara. I have ended yesterday's lecture from that how you deal with Vihara and Mahavihara. If you are not getting the point, the difference between Vihara and Mahavihara, then it will be difficult to understand the traditions of learning. So first, come to Vihara. It is a Vihara, simple. Where you are living, it's a Vihara. So, when you talk about Vihara, all of you are the monk. So how can you define Vihara? Tell me.
Vihara means beauty. Which is for the monastic man, and he confer the faith of the people. It's small building, just a small building we can call it Vihara. But Mahavihara are far from the Vihara, from different.
Now, I'll talk about Vihara.
In Vihara. Vihara means real.
See, what you do in the Vihara. What you do in Vihara? You live, one thing, then learning, teaching. Why you teach?
You can, yes, in the Vihara.
Why you teach?
Knowledge.
Why you teach? What is the purpose of teaching?
To develop the faith of the people. To develop the faith of the people.
Is it? It is one thing. Charak bhikshuve charikam bhajan nitaya bhajan sukha. So one thing. Other thing? Okay, I am not going to typical meaning of Vihara. Vihara is simply settlement. Any kind of settlement. That is the different debates. where bhikshu live. I'm talking about Buddhist time. So what is the purpose of that living? The very purpose of this living is to sustain the self-realization for their own religious development, very first thing. And also use this knowledge and teaching of the Buddha for welfare of society. There is two important things. The first motive is that to be an arahat. Okay? So, and the second is that use this knowledge for the betterment of society and for the furtherance, for the development of religion. You have to disseminate the knowledge for growth of religion also. If you will not move as a missionary, religion will not grow. It is not the duty of laity, it is the duty of the monk. So two very important. So all important idea before Vihara is to get expertise in monastic training. That is totally embedded within the religion. Okay? So it is what? It is totally monastic training for furtherance of the self as well as for furtherance of the religion. But when Mahavihara was defined, the person who defined is Sukumara Datta, says it is totally different from the monastic training. He called it is scholastic training. He called it scholastic training. So, idea of Mahavihara is scholastic training, and its beginning is generally not from basic. Its beginning is only for higher studies. Gives the example of the Shwenshang. He mentions when monk is interested to come to read in Nalanda Mahavihara, he has already knowledge. And he is then passing the entrance test. There is 10 gates, 10 stage of exams. And each gate he has to cross, and after that he was eligible to get admission in Nalanda. So it is said that it was a higher learning. So he told that the monastic tradition shifted towards the higher education. And because of that, you can say that Nalanda is an university. Nalanda University is generally for higher education. So I will discuss here mainly that was Nalanda only for higher education? One thing. Number two, was Mahavihara was developed with the idea of Nalanda? Can its origin be turned into the 4th century? Personally, I am not abided by that. First, when I come to the idea of Mahavihara, I found many new kind of hypotheses. So, what is the Mahavihara? Mahavihara has very specific structure in Nalanda. Like number one, it has a vice chancellor or chancellor. It is not like a simple abode that it is a chancellor there was, and it was an elected system that that monks authorize some senior person, senior Thera, to be the chancellor of the university. Number two, that it has a organized kind of teaching, basically. And that teaching mainly relate to higher education. And that was not only monastic. That is one major difference. not only monastic. It may be other subject also, like astronomy, mathematics, medicine. So it's a different kind of teaching. And that was very organized with philosophy teaching also, and the teaching of the other schools also, like Brahmanical teaching, Sankhya philosophy, like yoga philosophy, different teachings. So this is structure developed, this particular idea was coined here. When you go to Kathavata, go to Pali tradition, and when you go to later Arthakathas that is written in the 4th century in Sri Lanka, you find is that for Buddhism, Mahavihara is not a new term. The earliest terminology of Mahavihara as a central organization was used by Ashoka. The first known, and this reference was made for 2 monasteries. One in India and other in Sri Lanka. You found it that still the majority of the Sri Lanka followed the Mahavihara tradition. And that was founded by Venerable Mahendra there in Sri Lanka. So how this terminology come? So it is said that basically the central church of Pataliputra, that was, you can say that Kukkuta Ramavihara, that was patronized by Ashoka. Probably this was the first monastery, or it is also known as Ashoka Ramavihara, was first time used it as a Mahavihara. But definitely its nature was totally monastic, still it was not a scholastic. It was only meant for propagation and furtherance of Buddhist religion. Both the Mahavihara of the 3rd century BC period of Ashoka, one is founded in Pataliputra, other is founded in Sri Lanka, is Theravada orientation or early Buddhist orientation, and it is meant for monastic tradition. So, when you talk about the Mahavihara, that it was developed for the scholastic tradition, in my opinion, is little bit debatable. And you find that there is a transformation from 3rd century BC to 4th century, that Mahavihara initially meant for monastic tradition, later on a scholastic tradition was added in it. When you learn Nalanda, you will find it, all the Chinese sources, whether Liqing, whether Vayan, whether Xuanchang, never told that monastic training in Nalanda was not given. They still say, Gillies was also there. Monks were there. Shamanate tradition was still continuing and it was very regular. I Ching mentions that in more than 1,000 years of the history. There is no reference of deviation of the traditional knowledge. I will come later on that. So it's still that. Definitely the main motive was the higher learning, but still the traditional monastic tradition and training was not left altogether. But there was one addition. Whether it is in India, whether it is Theravada or other schools of Theravada or Mahayana, the traditional monastic teaching start with the idea that was given by Buddha. It begins with the same. You have to learn the basic Vinaya, you have learned the suttas. In addition to that, when you come to the Mahayana, in addition to that, people started learning their own Vinaya. They learned the Vinaya of the early Buddhism as well as they started learning their own Vinaya. I Ching mentions that first he got trained into Theravada Vinaya. Then he also got translated that Dharmaguptaka Vinaya. So they study the both. This is the very important beginning, that is that. So monastic tradition in Nalanda never got finished. And say example, just you find it that, I don't know that I have mentioned it somewhere or not, it probably. See this. 10th century, almost, 9th century. You know what is it? It is Paticha Samuttapah. Both in Vibhanga and Nirodha, both complete. If you say only Mahayana is taught, why it is mentioned? Why it is there? It's like slate. It's like slate. Break both. It is and reverse side. Both it is written. Then the question is that if you see that you have all abandoned in the Pali, then why Pali is mentioned there? Why Brahmi Script old is there? So, generally the myth that was created by some colonial thinker that all Pali tradition is left and Sanskrit is adopted. No, basic monastic training was still adhered what is taught by Buddha. And then they started evolving. So, almost one thing is properly understandable. If Xuanzang is coming and studying, basically he was the Mahayana expert in Nalanda, he also go to Vallavi. Why he is going to Vallavi? Because he was saying that I have also learned the Theravada, which was very important center Vallavi that time. So you cannot basically discriminate between different sects of the Buddhism. Very scattered difference in the Sri Lanka, it is almost that is found in latter age where there is clear, what you say that, rift between Abhayagiriya and Mahavihara. In Indian tradition, only in 12th century there is one record in which there is a dispute between Vajrayani and Theravadi. Between Sri Lanka, only one record. And everywhere you found that single monastic establishment, at least 10 sects live together. Some says it is Mahishasaka, some says Theravadin, some says it Dharmaguptaka, some says that it is Mahasangikas and all live together. They have separate monasteries, the same system. So this is very unique. It is not found in any religion. And in Nalanda itself, 6-7 sects have been mentioned in the donative records. So the very first thing that the system, that the idea, the notion that was created, that it was totally deviated from the traditional structure, at least I am not willing to accept it. And I have already published the paper. If you read it clearly, then you will find. I will again just come to this very interesting finding that, and very debatable. So, come to the name. Generally, when you talk about Nalanda, this picture is shown to you on the internet, everywhere. This is one part, is small. And this is temple number 3, Chaitya number 3. This is known as what? Chaitya number 3. What? No. I'm coming there. Yes, if you go to that place, the people will tell that it is Sariputra's birthplace. They will tell you. Immediately, that they tell you it's the birthplace of Sariputra. Then the question is, how Sariputra can take birth in a monastery? Is it possible? Is it possible? Anybody can? Yeah, maybe. Maybe somebody. There is some differences in which the birth is known in the monastery. At least 3-4 evidences in the age of Buddha. Like I'm forgetting a nun. Who joined the order and she did not know that she is pregnant. And after, when she became Shramaneri, then it got discovered that she is pregnant. Then there was a special arrangement was made for them and her child was born in the monastery. So there is a scattered references. And he was trained with the full education that it was prescribed by Buddha himself. So it is a scattered difference, but nobody can just give birth in the monastery. So how Sariputra can be here? It's not, at least too far and not too near. It's the rule that in the settlement you cannot found monastery. There should be a substantial pause. So there is a myth that Sariputra was born. I will come to that point only, that how it is related to Sariputra, basically. First I am coming to the name, Nalanda. There is many myths, all belong to that tradition. Very popular, given by Xuanzang, Chinese sources, who mentions that there was a bodhisattva who was very generous in gift making, and he was so benevolent that his donation never ended. Nalanda, eternal giver, who always gives. So on basis of his deeds, his idea, this place became known as Nalanda. We don't know exactly, 4th century, 6th century. I Ching mentions separate thing. He says there was a Naga, Nagananda, so on, and still people say that there was one pond adjacent to Nalanda where he lives. So he was so influential that on his thing it became Nalanda. So it's quite debatable that how it became Nalanda. My own theory is very different. I just personally believe that this is the cause of Nalanda. It's my own theory. There is other great scholar, Shastri. He was one of the greatest scholars who deal with Nalanda. He says that the Nalanda was developed on basis of lotus. You know that lotus?
Yes.
And flower, and there is a stalk.
Yes.
So that stalk is known as Nala. So because there is a lot of pond in and around Nalanda, so lotus is very important for Buddhism, and its Nala and fruit, both is edible. Very popular, very popular. In India, it's still very popular. So said its relevance is very important. So because of that Nalaka, because of that Nala, it became Nalaka. But I don't think, when you just go to the foundation of the cities like Pataliputra, like Kushinagar, like Pippalivana of that time, you find is that geography and plants, local trees, local geography were important factors to name a city. Why just Pataliputra? Because there is abundance of parchali tree. Why it is Kushinagar? Because it is dominated by Kusha grass. Kush is a grass. Why it is Pipalivana? Because it has abundance of people tree. So I was roaming in the Nalanda that definitely if all parallel cities are like this, why I should not just see some plant? And in my own Nalanda campus, I have the forest is this. This is known as Nala. Early rural Nalanda cannot survive without it. It's a stalk, it is almost, you see it is 8 meters, 9 meters. And you find it, every hut is still in the rural area made of this reed. It's so important. It is edible. When there is no sugar cane, people burn it and it is very sweet. So it is used as a sugar. It's early, you know that Dante's people use bamboo shoot. So it's early, when it is young, it is used as a vegetable. So it is so important in early life of the people of Nalanda. So I thought, and it is known as still Nalaka. So I thought probably this is the reason that Nalanda was known. I have published the paper. I have sent it also to vendor and just take it. So my own presumption is that Nalanda was named after this plant. Maybe it's more logical. Because I Ching is mentioned in the reference of the 7th century. Xuanshan is mentioned in the reference of the 6th century. But this plant and this terminology belong to at least 6th century BC when urbanization started. So probably this can be the important thing, that how Nalanda was named is still going on. Nalanda was named, and after 13th century it was forgotten, and it became a Badgaon. It's still a village, Badgaon. When discovery started, after Xuanshan's book founding and translated in the French first, and later on in English, people started discovering where is Nalanda, and there was one great archaeologist who has done greatest work, that his name was Hiranand Shastri. He requested the Britishers that why you are naming this railway station as Badgaon? This is ancient Nalanda, so I am requesting you, please rename this place as Nalanda. And on his request was accepted. And finally, in 19th century, it got its ancient place that is known as Nalanda. Now again, Bhante's question that, is it Sariputra's birth? When I just next time come, I will just discuss is that where Sariputra was born. I will just discussing this, why it was not Sariputra's birth. Very clearly, just I have mentioned and given you Pali sources that why a monastery cannot be the birthplace of any person, especially monk. And it is definitely that Indian archaeologists had discovered the place where Sariputra, along with his 5 brothers, were born, and that place is almost 5-6 kilometers, 5 kilometers from Nalanda Monastery, presently known as Chandi Mount, which is known as Chandi Mount, where he lived, his mother lived, and his 5-6 brothers lived. It is far. Then the question is, why this place is linked to Sariputra? Definitely, in my opinion also, that this place is linked to Sariputra. Go for its archaeological explanation. We have earliest evidence from period of Ashoka, 3rd century BC. Maybe it may be the parallel of Buddha, 6th century BC also. But before under that, there is a lot of water. Nalanda is very watery, so we are not able to find that what is below it with 6th century BC. So the earliest structure we have is belong to 3rd century BC, Ashoka period. And the structure that we found is this. So, and this structure that was found in 3rd century BC never disturbed till date. Still there. 7 times at least Nalanda, this temple was made. See it. 3 is below. This is the 4th one. This is the 5th one, 6th one, and this is the 7th one. 7th time. One upon another, one upon another. And Buddhists have one important thing. Suppose they have created a stupa, and upon that they are developing a better structure. They never destroy it. They put it within the system and raise the building. So, where the earlier building is there, you find it that. How you can know it? These are the earlier structure. You will find it that if you go, that when 4th century Gupta was developing, the corner stupa was still the same, within the wall. They never disturb it. And on above, they just made better one. So I'm just coming one point that this structure was never developed, never disturbed. After 4th century, this was made intact. Here it was extended. After 6th, 7th century, Gupta age, it was covered with that. After 6th century Harsha age, this was covered, a temple was raised. After in the Pala age, it became covered hues and Shikhara temple was there. And Sanctum Sanctorum, the Garbhagriha, was on same. The Garbhagriha, 2nd one, 3rd one, 4th one, on the same epicenter. That shows this site was very important. What was the reason? We don't know. What is the reason? This site is very important. So, many theories that people say that Sariputta was born here. I don't accept it. In the monastery, 2 important my arguments. Why Sariputta cannot born here? Nalanda Mahavihara was high chances was founded almost parallel to when Sariputta became the monk. When he was accepted the discipleship of Buddhism. Almost parallel. At least 20 Pali sources mentions there was a Sethi, his name was Pavarika. He donated his mango orchard, Amravana, where the first vihara of Nalanda was found. It was as parallel to Bimbasar's donation of Velubandha. So exactly it is almost parallel to when Sariputra and Mahamoggallana became the monk. So, if it was made on Pavarika Amarvana, it cannot be house of Sariputra's mother, because it was property of other Sethi. One is clear. And Shariputra was born in his home family. It was just mentioned. So it's very clear. And when it developed monastery, Shariputra cannot born in the monastery. So this is not the birthplace of Shariputra. Then what is it? The question is, what is it? It was also not his relic stupa. It is also not his, many scholars say that it was his relic stupa. It was not his relic stupa. I told him that without Pali, early Buddhism, you cannot learn anything. Why not relic? The earliest statue is, the earliest structure, is it a stupa? Is it a stupa? What is a stupa? Where is the first reference of stupa? Where is the first reference of stupa? Everybody, every Burmese must know it. No, and other people know or don't know. In the evening, I will speak to you on that. Where is the first reference of stupa? When it was given?
At the day of the Sarojini. At the day of the Sarojini.
At the time of?
At the day of the Sarojini. Chiravana.
In very first year of Buddhahood.
Yes.
Don't confuse it that it was time given at the time of Mahaparinirvana. And it was given to Burma itself. Tapassuvan Bhallika, when met Buddha in Bodh Gaya after his Nibbana, he told, after offering the food, that now I became my disciple. I am going to my own country, Myanmar. How he came, I will discuss in the evening and also in the Theravada monastery, the same paper. He told, how can I worship you? Kindly tell me. Then he himself told the technique of making the stupa. He just inverted his alms bowl, taken his stove and finally folded it and give the making of technique of a stupa. So Buddha himself told in very first year that how stupa as a symbol will be developed. I will discuss in the evening. But the stupa is basically hyperbolic. Why it is hyperbolic, I will come in the evening. Like this, it is. Why it is, I will just discuss later on. Your structure is like this first? No. Your structure is like this. It was like this. So it cannot be a stupa. So it was not really a stupa. Pali sources mentions that Sariputra's relic stupa was not founded in Nalanda or Rajgraha. Where it was? Where it was? Where it was? After the Parinibbana of Sariputra, his brother and mother collected the relics. Chunda took part of that relic. Buddha was at particular time in Jetavana Vihara. From Nalanda, his brother took the relic and went to Jetavana Vihara, where he submitted relic to the Buddha. Buddha give this relic to Anathapindika to make a stupa on it. So the first relic stupa of Sariputra was not in Nalanda. Where? Shavasti. No dispute. No dispute. That's why we need to just reinterpret the colonial history. And the question is, it is also not relic stupa. Then how you can relate it with the Sariputra? It will. Some of you have visited Bodh Gaya or you have seen the Bodh Gaya. And if you go to the Bodh Gaya, you see, I've told you, the Mahabodhi Asthal, the most sacred place of Buddhism in the world is the platform. This, where Buddha said. It is known as what? Bodhi Manda. Just under Bodhi tree. This platform. Most sacred place of the world for Buddhists. Similar kind of platform you find here in Nalanda. What it indicates, it may be the place where Sariputra attained Nibbana. He got enlightened, he became Arahat at this place. He meditated, it was a monastery, it was a vihara, Avarikamarvana. Probably here Sariputra resided. Here he became Arhat, and that's why this place became so popular.
So there is one issue for explanation. Here might be that place of the enlightenment of the enhancement of the Sariputra, because it was monastery. There is your explanation. So we can argue that at the time of the Sariputra, was there Nalanda monastery.
Yeah, it was a monastery at, I told you now, it was a monastery at the time of Sariputra. Yeah, that is sure. It was. It is a Pavarik Amravan.
Before the Nalanda's years.
Before the Mahavihara. Before the how it developed, I am coming on that point. There is a very different that he was born in Nalaka Grama. Sariputra was born in Nalaka Grama. I told you that Nalaka Grama has been identified by another village that is 5 kilometers down from Nalanda, and that place is now known as Chandimam. So, Nalaka Grama is very different from Nalanda, Vihara. Everybody knows that in a Grama, in a Nigama, no monastery can be founded. Even when there is an issue for nun in Shavasti, and Buddha is to take permission from Prasenjit that you should permit that Bhikshuni Sangha founded within the city. He prescribed that it should be on the periphery of the city, not within the city. So if there is a Nalaka Grama itself where Shariputra was born, it cannot be placed for monastery. And why it is known as Nalanda? Because Nalanda was very prominent. Why very prominent? I will come to it. That how what. First I should discuss it. So why it is that? So in my opinion, that probably this is the place where Sariputra attained Nibbana. He became Arahat here. And he stayed here for long. He almost stayed here for long. Why? If you go to that temple, there is only one inscription and there is only one image belong to Sariputra. Only one in whole temple. seven structure. This temple is totally dedicated to Buddha. And the image that was found in Sariputra is with Yashodhara and Rahul. And you know that Rahul Mata and Rahula both were very close to Sariputra. Rahul was a disciple of Sariputra. He ordained. And both Rahul and Yashodhara lived in Bhikshuni Sangha as well as Bhikshuni Sangha in Ambalatika Vihara. That is very near to Nalanda, almost 5 kilometers. Ambalatika Vihara, present identification, is a place that is known as Sila. Sila is within Nalanda. It's very near. And all three never separated each other till their parinirvana. So this is the only one reference that is found that three are together mentioned in temple number 3. So almost Sariputra is considered to be guardian of the Rahul. Even he was the monk. And for every kind of issues, Rahul never informed Buddha, you know. But every time he informed Sariputra, I need this medicine, this one. Yashodhara had an ailment since her childhood, stomach. And that medicine was only obtained from Shravasti. So twice such happening there, Jataka stories mentions. And both times Rahula intervened that Rahul Mata has this issue. So arrange this medicine from Shravasti. And both Sariputra arranged this medicine from. So you said that such kind of relations are there in them. Just find it that. And it is very near. So in my ideas, that it shows that probably this is the place where Sariputra attained Nirvana. No, that. And that is most authentic, that it shows. And that's why it became linked to the place for Sariputra. Definitely it is place for Sariputra. Why Buddha became so dominated? Because Buddha used to go there. When he come to Nalanda, he always visited to his disciples' place. So Buddha visited many times this place. And because of that, it now became the temple of Buddha, rather than temple of the Sariputra or place related to the Sariputra. So you just find that how Nalanda just came into the picture. So in my opinion, that it was almost after 3rd to 4th century, it was a Theravada monastery, and later on it was transformed into the Mahayana monastery. Almost that beginning you can make from 2nd century Common Era. So the general presumption that Nalanda is a Mahayana monastery generally is not accepted in Indian literary tradition. It has the old beginning. It begins with the 6th century BCE and lasted up to 12. So people say that it lasted over 800 years. It's old myth. It lasted over almost 1,500 years. So, and it has a whole new tradition that. I've just mentioned it, that how it became that idea. And so there's number of disciplines that was just developed. I want to just come one issue, that is about this important thing, that is civility. The scene is known as Trividyasi. And it created a lot of confusion in Nalanda tradition. So when it was discussed, it is written as Tri Vidya. So the Shastri just interpreted it. Tri Vidya means three Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda and Sham Veda. So general projection was given that here the three Vedas were also taught. Maybe not, no sure. But was it a part of curriculum? I don't think so. It was regularly that monk was trained into the three Vedas. Yes, it was almost open to all. If Buddha learned every discipline. When you learn to Brahmajala Sutta, you found it that Buddha has knowledge of all existing disciplines that were reigning into India. All. 62 wide open and many disciplines he learned. He himself told and he never criticized. Many people say that Buddha is criticizing, but in the Brahmajala Sutta he did not criticize. He says that it was, I have studied this, examined this, examined this. It was saying this and then he left. He says that what my teaching is better than all. So, if a monk is interested to learn other disciplines, he can. But was it a compulsory thing that it's a three Vedas? My opinion is no. Great no. It was not in the monastic training that you have to learn the religious sculpture and all. It began with the Vinaya tradition. And then you learn Sutra on your own, basically. So, what was the three Vidya? You see, the monk's idea is that to develop his own insight through learning of the basic tenets of Buddhism and practicing it through meditation. And for that, Buddha, the three ideas, I am not going to debate in that, is this. The three Vidya is simply what? Shila, Prajna and Samadhi. How you develop this idea. In Nalanda, this has different interpretations within the Buddhism. In Mahayana, there is less emphasis on Samadhi, more emphasis on Bodhisattva. But these three ideas were never abandoned. Maybe liberalized in context of Mahayana, you say, I just use. Not abandoned. They have a different, probably to accommodate the larger following. It's very difficult to just concentrate to the Vipassana tradition. So they interested that you have just concentrated that. Beats and all. Common practice. But it was not just abandoned. He says that. So that's one debate is that you should, that's almost that idea. What is the idea of three Vidya? Because for the three Vedas, there is one specific wording is used that is known as Vedatrayi. If you are learner of the Veda, you are that Vedatrayi. It's not three Vidya. Prefix and suffix, there is difference. Vedatrayi means you are learner of the three Vedas. But three Vidya, you have to that Shila, Prajna and Samadhi. So basically this is one debate that I want to just say you. And it also shows the idea that who says that Mahayana totally changed them? They never abandoned the idea of Paticca Samutpada. Their methodology was totally different. But they never left the idea. In every latest, the last donative records you found in the 13th century mentions Ya Dhamma Hetu Prabhava. It is almost, they cannot recite it, practices, so they wrote it and put it into the stupa and finally offer it to the Buddha. So their methodology got changed. But their there you can say that they are not abandoning the basic credential of the Buddhism. So this is the idea that how it was, but other disciplines were also taught. Why? It was created a new discipline that you call this tradition, basically. This English, that is a scholastic tradition, and this scholastic tradition is embedded in one word that we call Vad. What is Vad? Debate. And that wide range of rules were developed in the debate. And two of the greatest pioneers of the debate in the same line, Ikanaga and Dharamki. After the Buddha, if you call me, the who is your beloved monk after the Buddha? I love him, that Dharamki. So powerful. And when you have to emerge victorious against your adversary, so Buddha says that for that you have not only to learn your discipline, but you have also to learn their adversary's discipline. How you can know into debate without knowing the others? If your Buddha don't know about what he was saying in the Brahmajata Sutta, how he can debate with the Diganthas, how he can debate with the Ajivikas. So, to know the others is the first stage of victory. Here, wide range of scholastic traditions start. But the most ignored teaching for all of us is that with the Western scholars, and by the way, that scholars, one of the pioneer scholar start their study only from here, Myanmar. And his name was Melford Spire. Still, his book is very popular in among the monks who consider themselves that they are very high learning in this education system. When he was doing MPhil, Venerable Jagara, so he has another great friend who was also doing MPhil same time now, Venerable Jatila. So he come to me and say that I will show you one of the very good book, and in which my thing is that I don't go to that. So there was some issue that particular time in Myanmar. So I told him that do the MPhil on that. So I told Jatila also that you should do your MPhil on that topic. So he just gave me the book of Melford Spire. He told this is a very good book. I'm like, yes, it is a very good book, but have you studied it? Yes, I studied it, but cannot just understood it. Yes, it is a very good book, but it is the most controversial book for Buddhism. So that is Fabric of Myanmar. I will just search in that. Melford Spire, early Buddhism. Yes, basic study in Myanmar. Melford Spire. So, Spiro has given very negative picture of Buddhism. Followed his early follower. And his basic hypothesis was that Buddhist is totally asansaric, non-worldly. They encourage to be detached and leave your house and live in the forest. He just used that like rhinoceros, what Buddha says, in the very different word, in very negative. That if you are promoting the monkhood, means you are just leaving all your duty of the samsara world. And initially that book became very popular. Later on it was much criticized. Why criticized? He came Burma on an assignment. He visited monasteries. He lived with the monks. On basis of it, he wrote his study. But why you have not studied 99% population who are Buddhist and living the world? Monks are less than 1% of the society. So you have studied the monks, and what is about the lay followers? If you are the Buddhist, then can you say them asansaric? So he got very negative view also. So that was started debate. Even Buddha, he became asansaric. For how many years? Buddha was asansaric for how many years? Through his life, Siddhartha to Buddha, 80 years. How many years he lived asansaric? 10? Only 6, 0. The phase between Siddhartha to Buddha, 6 years. Even after the Buddha, he returned to the world. He lived within the world, but as unworldly. He never detached himself. He lived with all the society. His greatness was that he is living in the society but without any bondage. That is his greatness. Very difficult thing. It's the most difficult in the life. That you are living in all luxury and devoid of all the luxury. That is the greatest thing. So he himself lived in the samsara. He met every day with the commoner, the monk, the king, everybody. So how is spirosis? So the monastic duty is not only the things that preaching, teaching, meditation. He has also the duty to serve the society. Nalanda has done great work on that. At least 20 countries are indebted to that Nalanda. I used to tell them that Nalanda was the first who started the idea of corporate hospitals. But corporate hospitals take money. It was free for all. Who says? Chinese discovery says they have done tremendous research on childbirth, on pregnancy, on severe stomach diseases, sincere work, surgery, extraordinary work. And it was not only Nalanda have developed. If you see the paritta, what is paritta? You perform daily. It is only for play, Ratan Sutra. Why you are not studying Angulimala Paritta? What is Angulimala Paritta? What is Angulimala Paritta? Oh? To protect what? Not women. To protect pregnant women and child. How genius concept. He was going to for alms round. He went to the house where a woman was crying because of pregnancy. You see that in early India, even the Myanmar, how largest death because of pregnancy and all. He saw the pain, he developed the paritta. It is one of the greatest social cause. Social cause. People debate he was the mom. How a mom can see the pain of his mother. It was Buddha's pain. If you learn the Buddha, I told every mom, every time in my lecture, don't learn Buddha through his teaching. Learn Buddha through his personality. He never forget his mother's death after the birth. That's why Mahamaya never abandoned Siddhartha and Buddha. Both went together after Mahaparinirvana. If you see, every time when Buddha or Siddhartha in trouble, she came. He was wandering, 5 ascetics left. He was almost hunger, unconscious. She saw that she was unconscious. She started crying, coming. You told that you are going to be Buddha. You are dying. He just became aware. No, I am not dying. I am regaining myself. Don't worry. He was moving towards Mathura. He went near Kanpur, Sankesa. You say that you are the greatest Arahat, please everybody. Why not tell me? Come to me. He went to the heaven. When he took Mahaparinirvana, she again came and started crying. Never left. Maybe symbolism. You see, learn its social aspects. Learn its social dimension. They, early monks, were much concerned about their society. They were mother, sister, daughters, child. If you learn one writer, best of all, I have to say that one. Learn him, read it. He's a European author, Kenneth Jesk. His theory is that, except Dhanvantari, every great surgeon that was born in early world, every great physician that was born in early world was Buddhist. Shushruta, Charak, everyone is a Buddhist. They were the first surgeons. They were the first expert of anatomy. They were the first expert of the physiology. Why you are the expert of physiology? Why you are the expert of the human anatomy? Tell me. Why you are the great expert of human anatomy? Not now, but early. Why? Tell. You meditate in front of carcass, dead body. You start learning decaying, learning bones, learning veins, learning cells, learning bloods. Early Brahmanical tradition don't learn it. They will declare untouchables. It is mandatory for Buddhism to see. So he see that here is this bone, here is this bone. Everything known to them. That's why they were the earliest great surgeons. Nalanda gave it international shape. China, Mongolia, Tibet, Nepal, Central Asia, all meditation tradition that indebted to Nalanda. You see it. I'm not telling it. Their own sources telling it. Don't tell that the scholar of India is telling it. Their own sources now discovery has it. Everything is lost, but everything is now discovered in China. And it is mentioned this text was taken from Nalanda and translated by Indian monk who lived in China by his name. They have done wonderful researches on pregnancy, on childbirth. Here it is 9 months only. Buddhist tradition never starts. 12 months. still pregnancy, after birth, 3 months more, they are more considered a proper health. So don't think Angulimal Sutra in different way. Some scholars raise the question, if monk is celibate, how he can deal with the women's right? Monk himself is celibate, but he has a duty to protect the interests of the samsara. Buddha is made for that. The credential is dukkha. So how you remove dukkha? The laity's dukkha can be removed only by just supplementing their good health, their mental health, their living condition and all. So you have to contribute in that. So this is the things they have developed. Agrarian techniques, agriculture, they have developed medicine, they have studied seasons, they have studied astronomical synthing, they have developed water management, they have developed almost, you can say that, metallurgy, rasayan, they have discovered mercury as medicine. Mercury has the greatest value in the Indian medicine tradition and all Chinese medicine tradition. So their contribution was immense. There is no lay follower in that. Everybody is what? Monk. Everybody was monk. They have done. So their duty is not simply to meditate. Their duty was, despite that, they were asansari. But one of the main thrust was that they had to serve interest of their laity in best way. Buddha did it throughout his life. He lived for the laity. His sangha was